another first-time storyteller, and I am so excited about this piece because I know that this person was like one of those people that was like, I can't, I'm sorry, I can't. No. And we're like, but you can, though, and you will. Just kidding. Born and raised in this city full of transplants, Kaylynn is learning to see and love the place others chose for home. Hopefully, somewhere along the way, they'll learn the meaning of home for themselves, too. Please give a warm welcome to Kaylynn.
I'm a little bit short, so I need to adjust the mic. Mistakes were made. When I thought about writing for this prompt, it was a little bit difficult. I think of mistakes as choices that you wish you could go back and change or undo, choices that you regret making. I thought back on all my life's choices, and after a lot of careful consideration and multiple therapy sessions, I realized that out of all the choices I've made in my life, both helpful and unhelpful, tumultuous and benign, none of them are ones that I would consider mistakes. I couldn't think of one that I would want to rewrite in some way. And so I had to think really hard about what mistakes were made. And what came to mind was this. This past Valentine's Day coincided with the start of my first Saturn return. So, like any astrology-obsessed zillennial, I took it as a chance to go on a soul journey. I visited Bisbee for the first time, and I was on a mission. A week before, my friend had told me of a tarot reading he had received that transformed and reaffirmed his life. And the reader happened to be less than 2 hours away in one of the funkiest little towns I had ever seen. Now, like I said, I had just started my first Saturn return. And for those who don't know, in Western astrology, a Saturn return is a 2-year-long period of extreme growth and transformation. Most people find this to be a really exciting time to get to know themselves and the world. I, however, am not like most people, and my Saturn return was sending me into an existential crisis. I had just survived a year of extreme change, for better or worse, and I was scared I wouldn't be able to weather another 2. I was tired and uncertain, and I wanted some universal reassurance that whatever was coming my way was not going to fuck me up. Hence, my desperate need to get the universe on the phone through a tarot reading stat. You know the saying, be careful what you wish for? Let's just say, when I got the universe on the phone, it did not hold back. The reader was warm and sweet, and honestly, felt a little bad for transmitting the bluntness of my spirit guides. She started the reading with this fun fact. Every person makes approximately 35,000 choices a day. And again, maybe some people would feel reassured by that information. Maybe some people would feel comforted knowing that they have so many opportunities for change, so many opportunities to make a difference in their life. I, on the other hand, was only filled with existential dread. Because how are you going to tell me that I have 35,000 chances every single day to make choices that will irrevocably fuck up my life? It's too many. If I'm being honest, the reading didn't relay anything heinous or obscene. The cards said that I needed to change, that I needed to rest, and that I needed to give up control. For my lovely cortisol-steeped brain, each card revealed was further evidence that my worst nightmare had come true. I am fucked up, and I need to make a lot of changes in order to not be fucked up forever. I left Bisbee with a weight in my chest, heavy with the knowledge that I am responsible for my own happiness and the creation of my destiny. Talk about tough love. Now, this may sound like a bit of a disproportional response to a relatively benign situation, but you have to understand. Growing up, I was so fucking afraid of making a mistake. I thought I would die, or worse, be excommunicated from my family, forced to wander the universe alone forever. My parents were the worst kind of air signs. Sorry to the air signs out there. They are not you. They are the worst. They were unpredictable, ever-changing, fickle, and generally uninterested in being parents. It was always a mystery which actions would lead to the biggest reactions. If I couldn't figure out the magic combination to keep them happy, my life, and more importantly, my sense of belonging, would be at stake. Despite spending the last 28 years perfectly curating this version of myself to stay safe, I was now being tasked by the universe to let it all go. My Saturn return was transforming me into who I was always meant to be, and according to my tarot cards, I had an active part to play in that creation. Being a Capricorn raised as the eldest daughter meant that I was no stranger to the task of securing and maintaining the lives of myself and others. Responsibility and duty were my native tongue, and the burden of survival was a familiar weight. So, I did what my parents never did. I owned that shit. Unfortunately, I went a bit too far and tried owning everything. And soon, that shit was exhausting. I swallowed words that weren't meant for me. Kept them in my stomach, in my throat, let them settle, let them fester. Crow food, clogging, choking, poisoning. I learned lessons that weren't my own, took their faults and made them mine. Offered apologies for things I didn't do. Took back words I never said. Cannibalized pieces of my own flesh to fit a mold I was never meant to fill. Took things out of other people's hands and carried them on my back. Said, if they won't take responsibility, I will. Never stopped to ask, will you hold this? Will you own this? Assumed the answer was no, because if they wanted to, they would. So I picked it up and carried it with me, never stopping to ask, does this need to be held at all? I have carried more than a human being was ever meant to carry. I have held more than hands were ever meant to hold. And when my feet faltered under the mammoth weight, when my hands shook from the strain, I called myself incompetent and filled myself with hate. You're so weak, you're so tired, you're so lazy, you could be doing so much more. I never acknowledged all I had already done. Each choice became a death sentence. Each mistake, a new opportunity to flog myself for all my perceived faults and flaws. But see, that's where I got it wrong. Every mistake is just a choice, one of 35,000, with a non-preferred outcome. I could have done the same things in a different situation, made the same choices and gotten a different outcome, and called it a happy accident. In reality, my mistake was thinking that my failure could be decided by someone or something else, that I had no power in deciding what was a happy accident or not, that I couldn't choose to greet each choice with curiosity, each mistake with care. Since realizing the error of my ways, I've been trying to think about how to use my choices wisely. But not only wisely, kindly, lovingly, excitedly, joyously. Because life is more than just retribution. Life is more than just an apology tour for the sins of your ancestors. In retrospect, maybe my tarot cards were telling me this. It's time to put down the whip, apply antiseptic to my wounds, and tell myself, I'm sorry for expecting you to do something no one ever could. I'm sorry for making you think love ever had to be earned. I'm sorry for making you think you were never enough. Maybe my Saturn return is changing me into someone kinder, softer, braver, someone more like myself, someone unapologetic to exist, holy and imperfect, someone safe enough to make some mistakes.